How many of you out in the audience today are sports fans? Go ahead and raise your hand. Okay. How many of you watch your sports on television 95% of their seasons? Okay, all of you. Imagine this technology wasn't available to you. Imagine you couldn't just turn on the TV and watch your sports teams play. Sports broadcasting has changed the way fans watch sports forever. Sports broadcasting is now mainstream on all cable. There's not just one, it's multiple sports broadcasting channels. When you first had teams and were into sports, you had to watch them live. There was no sports broadcasting. You would have to see them live to see how the event went, see the final score, see who played well, see who didn't. Then came radio broadcasts. The first aired sporting event over the radio was a boxing match between Johnny Ray and Johnny Dundee in 1921. Then a short little while later, in 1939, the first ever sporting event aired on television, Columbia vs. Princeton baseball. There was one camera on a wooden perch in the middle of the stands at the baseball field. Today, that's unimaginable. At today's sporting events, there are hundreds of cameras catching every angle of every sporting event. Back in 1978, a man and his son were driving down the road, Bill Rasmussen. He then had the idea to create a all sports, all the time network on cable. This was the creation of ESPN. ESPN debuted in 1979 to 1.4 million subscribers. That's pretty good for a brand new sports network. Since then, ESPN has grown to what it is today. Today, ESPN is the most watched cable network on television, whether that be sports or any regular network with sitcoms. ESPN has multiple networks now. ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN 3D, which is the newest technology that they use. They've also expanded into film series, such as 30 for 30, which digs deeper into the behind-the-scenes part of sports, and the 9 for 9 series, which helps bring in a more female audience because those films focus on women's accomplishments in sports. There are now 75 million subscribers nationwide to ESPN. That also includes 25 international channels to help ESPN broadcast international sports that the US usually don't get, such as cricket and as much soccer coverage, because let's face it, the US is the only sport in the world that soccer is not number one. With how fast ESPN has grown, what are their limits? What are their possibilities? Where can they be? Where will they be in 10 years? Where will they be in 15 years? In just 34 years, they rose over 73 million subscribers. As I said, it is the most watched network in the United States. And even a few years ago, they teamed up with a major network, ABC, America's Broadcasting Channel. The two of them have worked together to help widen who can watch sporting events on TV. So that way, not every person out there has to pay for cable to get ESPN. They can now watch those same sporting events on ABC. Technology in sports broadcasting has evolved by the day, and I'm sure it's not anywhere close to being at its peak. Fans had to watch sports live. Now they can watch it on their cell phones, their tablets, their computers. There's no limits to sports broadcasting now. If you want to watch your team play, it's basically in the palm of your hand. Do you believe there's any more limits for ESPN? Have they reached their potential, or is there more room to grow? I'm sure nobody back in 1921, when sports were first aired over the radio, that anybody ever thought sports would be broadcast on television. Then in 1939, when sports was first broadcast on television, I'm sure nobody thought it would become what it is today. Again, the evolution and technology in sports broadcasting has changed the way fans can watch sports. It's a completely different world out there for watching sports. Thank you.